Welcome back, League fanboys and fangirls, to Running Down Mid. As always, I am Exile, and with me is my right-hand man, Funzy. Oh, man. Final week of the North American Spring Split, and it was a good week for some League.
We saw a lot of crazy action this weekend. And
dude, did we ever?
I actually honestly didn't know how it was going to shake out for some of those teams, but now we know who's going to the playoffs and who's unfortunately taking the rest of this, the springtime off.
Yeah, so it was a good weekend, some craziness, and it literally came down to Sunday's matches of who was in the tournament, who was being relegated, and who's just going to wait until summertime to come rolling around.
Yep, CLG clinched the 4th place spot, which means that they're going to face off against FlyQuest.
In like the longest game of the spring split.
Envy just did not want to go quietly. They didn't have a whole lot going on to make it want to play like that, but I guess they were like, we're on the stage, we're here, we might as well make sure that we play the full amount.
Yeah, and, it was definitely a pride match, and they showed it. And these last couple of weeks for Envy alone, even though they're bare buckets, going into the promotion tournament, or I like to call it the relegation tournament, instead of thinking of it as a leg up, it's definitely a leg down. Them going into that tournament and TL going into that tournament, it's going to be tough for Gold Coin or EU to knock one of those two teams off because they seem pretty strong.
They do seem strong, and they definitely are getting the higher caliber practice because you got to realize that these teams are practicing against other LCS teams and scrims. So their practice levels is definitely going to be a lot higher. But you have to realize that as soon as the challengers stopped playing a few weeks ago, they instantly have turned their attention to Envious and TL, the two bottom-ranked teams, have been nothing but looking at their footage, watching their gameplays, because, you know, you can find that stuff every weekend right there on the LCS stage. So they get to see that, and they get to practice towards those teams. Whereas, now that we know TL and Envious are going into that tournament, they now only get this week to focus on those two teams and see if they can dissect those two teams.
Yeah, so out of TL and Envious, who do you think's the weaker of the two teams?
I have to say it's got to be Envious. I mean, yes, they can play a strong game, but I think I saw a statistic where they're the best 20-minute team in the North America LCS.
Nah.
They are the best. They have the highest gold count and most dragons before 20 minutes. They just do not know how to take that advantage in the early lane and transcend it into the mid to late game.
See, I think if Lyra's playing good, Envious can win any match. If Lyra's playing bad, then they ain't going to win anything. And I think the same thing could be said of TL. If Rainover's doing really, really well, their team can transition that really, really well play into a win. If Rainover's doing bad, if I were Gold Coin in EU, I'd be looking to Envious and TL's jungle and trying to shut them down and have them a bad game. Because if their jungles do bad, almost always they lose their matches.
Yeah, and I want to say that the promotion tournament is going to be crazy, but you touched base on what I think is the two problems with these teams. Obviously, TL's problem is that there's no team synergy. I mean, they've had so many roster changes in the last few weeks, and you just can't imagine the synergy is going to be strong after just a few weeks of play. So that's going to get better, and hopefully it's going to be good enough to contend with teams that have been practicing for the whole split together. Envy has the same issue. They actually have a very strong team with lots of skill. The problem is that they're playing a solo queue game. It's almost like the communication isn't there, that they're not playing up as a team. They're kind of just lucking into a lot of fights and hoping that they go their way, in which obviously they're not. I mean, when you play against teams that are coordinated, they're going to tear you apart.
Yeah, so it's true, but I mean, they were able to take down, C9, play really, really well against them. The last couple weeks, Envious has actually they've shown more strength these last 2 weeks, these last 4 matches that they played, than they have the entire split. So I don't know if it's just taking them that long to gel together, but I really don't see neither TL nor Envious leaving the LCS this split. They might, and in my opinion, if there was any team that would leave the split, right now it looks like it looks like it's going to be TL.
So as much as I don't want to see it happen because I'm a huge Doublelift fan, TL does seem like the weaker of the two opponents. But it's not by like a large margin.
No.
I think you're talking maybe like percentile or two.
Yeah, it's not a large margin.
I don't see EU though taking out somebody. It's really Goldcoin that I think is going to be the main contender.
I also agree.
There's a lot of experience on Goldcoin, and I think that's going to drive home the point that they're going to work as a team. And unless TL can pull it together, and they brought in a new coach, so I hope that helps. It definitely helped when they played against TSM. I mean, you saw it. No one expected TL to win that game. I think when I saw the statistics on votes on Twitter, it was like 20% TL. Yeah. And that's how you call it. You do not expect TL, a ninth place team, to take a game off of TSM, let alone take 2 games. So
yeah,
I mean, you don't know. It's going to be close between those 3, and it's a best of 5s. I mean, it's best of 5s. Any way it can go with best of 5s. You get only better as the series goes on, and I think that's going to help TL more than you think, because the longer they play, the better they're going to mesh as a team.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. A lot of games Sunday came down to win you're in, lose you're out. I know Echo Fox was really watching some games because it's like, man, if you guys win, then we're in the promotion tournament. And if you guys lose, thank God, then we're out. I mean, Dardoch and Immortals were like this close to getting into the tournament. And again, it was a win you're in situation, but instead now it's Dignitas is in there.
Yeah, I think it breaks down to TSM took the first seed with their win on Sunday. Cloud9 second seed, P1 third, and then CLG in fourth. And then I don't know how they're going to do the 5th and 6th. I didn't quite see how that shook out, but that's going to be Dig and Fly.
So almost all of these games this weekend, the 4th, 5th, and 6th place, not only did it come down to their overall record, but a lot of these games, it came down to what they did as their match record. So not like, hey, we got, 9 wins and 8 losses. It came down to we've won 22 matches and we've lost, 26. And that match loss record actually is the LCS tiebreaker, and it was really interesting that a lot of these came down to it. At one point, it was, okay, FlyQuest won a match. And so, not the series, but they won their match. And that match win got them into the playoffs. So they still could have lost that last series that they had, and still made it into the playoffs, and then somebody else would have been able to not go to the promotion tournament. So, I mean, there was a lot of, weird stuff that was being thrown around. That's how tight this spring split has been, incredibly tight because of that.
Yeah, and seeing TL in that final match struggle, and you could see that they were giving it their all, because that was it. It came down to, if they win this, it's Echo Fox that's going back into relegations. And you could see it in their face that they wanted to give it. They gave it their 110%, and they just could not pull off that win. And it was heartbreaking.
It was. Man, it was a really good weekend. I mean, C9 beat P1 on Friday or Saturday, and man, they popping off on Twitter wearing their P1 jerseys like, man, come on, beat TSM. And I mean, no Medios. They went with Anori because they were thinking, man, Anori can take it to TSM.
And I think he hasn't played for what 3 weeks?
Yeah, he hasn't had that starter position in a while. And I mean, they throw in a new support just to see what's going to happen. So looks like they were testing the waters for their. I don't know.
Playoffs, maybe?
Playoffs. Like what kind of weird shenanigans?
They're gonna have a week because the promotion tournament's this weekend. They're gonna have a whole week too to mesh with the Nori if they're gonna go with him. My call though is that their team comps seem a lot stronger when they play with Meteos, and that's because Meteos can fill in on Zach and be an initiate those team.
Meteos has 2 perfect pocket picks that aren't so far out of meta that they don't work, and they're not something that someone target in picks and bans, and that's Zach and Olaf. And both his Zach and Olaf play are pretty good. Now, he can also play Elise in and hope to God that it goes to 30-plus minutes, because because anybody that throws a Q and hits it prior to 30 minutes, that's just luck. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what Meteos said, because
I'm pretty sure you have to be tweeting a Q on Lee.
Nobody hits a Q prior to 20 minutes. That's just stupid. So, I mean, he can play that. He also has a really good Elise that he does really well on. So, I mean, those aren't the Rangars and Kazakhs that are priority picks. Yeah.
Split, yeah.
You never see Meteos on a Graves or anything like that. So, I mean, he has all these other rando picks that work really, really well, and their team's synergistic comps, because it's like, man, if you're going to go Olaf, you're going Olaf because you can't CC him and he's going to pop his Ragnarok.
It's seeing Olaf being played with Knight's Vow was just crazy this weekend. I've never seen that. I think I saw him get 3 speed up buffs and just cream the other team.
Yeah.
Rainover, I think, was the one that was pulling it out, and I was just sitting back like, okay, mental note, make sure to play Olaf next time on solo queue.
No kidding, right?
Oh man, it was crazy. And I had not seen that build yet, and to see it being pulled out on stage, I guess I need to watch some more Twitch to find out what these people are playing. But as soon as he pulled that out, I was like, that's a strange item. First item, and then just seeing him steamroll the other team was just amazing.
So, I mean, there's just a lot. There's a lot going on, and the playoffs is going to be really, really good. Everybody's really, really tight. Dignitas is doing well. CLG's doing well, and CLG in the past have, started to pick up steam at the end of a split, and I mean, we could still see CLG could easily win. You have Stixay was dead and in the hospital. He comes back. He's on the stage with a hospital band. Like, he literally was like, "Yo, Uber, I need to go to the LCS." They had to lose. They lost a ban because he came back in and subbed. Like, they literally lost a ban. If you're wondering why CLG didn't have one of their bans, it wasn't because they forgot to ban somebody. That's one of the rules. Like, they subbed in, they subbed out. You lose a ban because you're subbing in and subbing out. And Stixay shows up on the LCS stage with a dang hospital discharge ban on his wrist and plays one of the longest games of the split. Like, and who knows why he was in the hospital? They said he was sick, but I don't know how sick. And here this guy is pretty much on death's door, like,
seeing Aframu play ADC, and he's always there in bot lane. He sees the other players. He knows how to play it. But seeing him play that, I don't know. It was like reverse Rush Hour.
Yeah. Definitely hard to see how it goes. On playing the other side of that coin was really rough. Having them explain what had happened and how they came to that decision was also extremely funny, because the guy that was playing support for him, he's also not a support. They're just like, man, what do we do?
Who can we get in on an overnight red-eye flight to come play on the LCS stage that doesn't mind being creamed?
Yeah.
Hey, I got this friend named Joey.
Yeah. So I mean, Joey's like, hey, I'm going to go Phil. And they're like, all right, you're going to go Phil, bro. You go support. And we're going to figure the rest of it out on our own. I mean, bravo to them trying, but it was so funny because as a team comp, it looked like literally look like a couple of randos in Flex Q and is like, all right, we're hitting Phil. What did Joey get? He got support. What did Afro get? He got ADC. Bro, do you even have any ADC champs? Like, do you even have? Are you gonna thresh ADC? What you got?
But if you looked at their faces on stage, they were having a good time. They were there. They obviously missed Stixay being with them, and they're definitely sad what happened. But it's good to see it. Stixay, like I said, must have snuck out. Ducked the nurses.
Yeah, I don't know. Did he even get discharged from the hospital?
I'm pretty sure that there was a nurse backstage getting ready to take him back.
Yeah, I mean, poor guy. And it was a super long match that they played in.
Yeah,
and it was
67 minutes almost. I think 10 seconds shy of 67 minutes.
Yeah, so it was the longest one this split, and like a minute away from being the longest in North America ever. And it was incredibly impressive to see that sort of mental toughness. Because, I mean, here he is lying in a hospital bed, just wanting to get out of the hospital. And then he goes and he gets on the LCS stage and plays in a match that matters. Like, I mean, yeah, they're in the playoffs, but the difference between playing a fourth place team versus playing as the sixth place team and having to go up against the top seed, like that's a huge difference. So they had something to play for, and they fought hard.
And I can't wait to see what playoffs brings us. Because of the way the seeding's working, it's definitely going to be an interesting tournament. Nobody's looking forward to the semifinals. I mean, if anything, the people who picked and got C9, I think, are going to have an easier fight. C9 seems to be fraying around the edges. Not bad in the sense that I think they're going to lose. I just think that of the two opponents, I think that TSM has its faults, but it's definitely trending upward.
I think with this weekend though, last weekend I would have said P1 was my sure shot winner at this. We didn't get to see Meteos play. They went with the Nori, so we got to see Meteos play against C9, and C9 was definitely ready for him, and they won their match, like handedly won their matches against them.
You have to realize that there's a lot of experience there with them. So,
there is.
They're prepared for that.
So they're ready for that, and I don't know. C9 looked really strong this weekend. They brought their brooms. They swept it up. They didn't drop a match. They looked really, really good.
But you can't say the same thing about the 2 weeks before that.
No, you can't. So it's just they looked really, really strong, and they're gonna have 3 weeks to prepare now. Like literally 3 weeks off to get ready, to have impact rest and whatever else they're gonna go with, and it's. C9 and TSM both look very, very, very strong. Word to the wise, if whoever's going against TSM, ban Nautilus. Make that your number one ban. Don't
keep the Hanser off the tanks.
Yeah, don't give the Hanser the
target that top.
Yeah, like I'm not joking. Like if you're wanting to stop somebody, you know what? Give Sven a Rengar. Let him have that priority pick. Give Bjerg whatever he wants. Take the tanks away from Hanser. Give him Rumble. All right, let him rumble it up. You'll get a win that way. They're already going to throw that first game, so you can give them whatever they want that first game. Just that second game, really
drive it home.
Really drive home. Five. You get 5 bans. Just make them all top lane tanks. What's he going to do?
Well, guys, that's going to bring it to the end of the spring split regular season. Like, comment, share. Let us know how we're doing. Give us a comment. Who do you think's going to win this next in the first round of the playoffs? Let us know. Do you think P1's going to pull it out? Do you think Dig's got it? Let us know.
I think Dig got it.
And we're gonna leave it with the BM of the week. We're gonna go to Peter Pang and see what he has to say.
Peter Pang,
good game.
Doublelift, good game, man. We'll see you guys next week.
Very much, guys. And yeah, I'm here with Doublelift, who just helped Team Liquid take down TSM. You were pretty exuberant after that win. Were you expecting? I know there was a lot of jabbing going back and forth. Were you expecting to win this game?
Of course not, dude. We're the 9th place team.